What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Today we're going to be diving back into some more of the Space Wolf datasheets. I was trying to figure out the best way to break it down, like I did Battle Line in the other video. I'm going to do a video on characters, but there's not really a good way to. There's no heavy support, fast attack, any of that left. So I'm going to kind of just go through just all the datasheets in the Marine Index, other than Dreadnoughts and Flyers, and then I'll do the same thing with the Marine book. Other than Dreadnoughts and Flyers, I'll do a video on Dreadnoughts, a video on Flyers, and a video on characters, just to kind of break that up a little bit, keep these videos a little shorter. I don't have a good PDF or anything that I can share of the Space Marine book, but I can share the Space Wolves Index, because that is on the GW site. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that. We'll go through all the stuff in the Space Wolves Index first. First thing we got is the Wolfgard. Pretty standard Marine profile up here. Only 1 AC. Weapon options. The combi weapon's nice, but the fact that they're stuck with heirloom weapons and can't take other weapons just really puts them down on my list. I really don't see much point in taking Wolfgard these days. I used to really like them. Their character with them unit, add one to the hit roll, but just don't really see much play for Wolfgard right now. Heirloom weapons are fine on Thunderwolves, because when you charge, you get to go up to the 2 damage. But just strength 5, neg 1 damage, just there's better options for the points than Wolfgard. Then we got, that's Lucas. That's going to be in the character video. We got Wolfgard Terminators. I do like Wolfgard Terminators better than regular Terminators, just because we have a lot more versatility in the loadouts we can give them. And they still get the add 1 to the hit rolls against their oath target, so that's really useful. You can still give them the Cyclone, you can give them the Assault Cannon, you can give them the Heavy Flamer, and then you got all the standard Terminator combat weapons. It's just we can mix and match combat and shooting, unlike the regular Space Marine versions where you're just stuck with either the shooty version or the combat version. So that's a really nice, and we can mix and match, put like a Storm Shield on an Assault Cannon. Like, there's just a lot of weird things we can do with the Wolfgard Terminators. So I think they're definitely a decent play in a lot of builds, just depending on how you're building your list. Definitely thinking about putting them in a Armor of Rust, not Armor, Champion of Rust attachment, either Deep Striking in, possibly put them in a Land Raider. Just lots of options. You can stick Logan with them, you can stick Arjack with them, Chaplain and Terminator armor, Librarian and Terminator armor, and just depending on which character you stick with them, their abilities changes their role slightly. Definitely think these are a unit that's worth taking in a lot of Space Marine lists or Space Wolf lists, especially some of the Champion of Rust. They don't fit. Like, I'm running Stormlance right now for ATC, so that's one of the reasons I'm not taking them, because most of the Stormlance strats and stuff benefit mounted, so they don't quite fit in there. But when I start playing around with Champions of Rust, there is a good chance they will make into at least some of my test lists. Next up, we got Hounds of Moira. These guys I ran a lot when they first came out. I haven't seen people really run them as much lately. Very standard profile up top. Their bolt pistol is Anti-Psyker 4, Devastating Wounds, Precision. That's really nice. Same with their Combat Knives, Devastating Wounds, Precision, Anti-Psyker 4+. So they're really good at, they can track out characters and they can track out Psykers really well. They got a 6-inch scout move, and then they have the special rule Morkay's Howl. In your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 12 of this unit. If a Lieutenant Reaver armor is leading this unit, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches. That unit must take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the result. If it is a Psyker unit, the test is failed. In addition to being battle shocked, that unit is stunned until the start of your next shooting phase. While the unit is stunned, each time a model on that unit makes a psychic attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. All right, so they're potentially battle shock and give neg 1 to Psykers. You have a 4-up invul against psychic attacks. So this is really, really good in certain matchups. In other matchups, they're really just souped up Reavers. So if I was playing a one-off game and I knew I was playing against like Thousand Suns or Grey Knights, I'd throw these in pretty much guaranteed. In a normal list, I'm not sure if I take them just because there's a lot of matchups where their anti-Psyker stuff just really doesn't help. But you know your local meta. If there seems to be a really prevalent psychic presence in a lot of the armies you face normally, then they're definitely something worth considering throwing in. Then we got Wolfen. With the points increased and OC0 changes and all that, I'm not a huge fan of Wolfen right now. Still, with a move 8 and T5, they're pretty solid. They still only get the 4-up save, but you can't give them the shield for the 4-up invul. You give them the Storm Frag, but hitting on 5s, it's really, I mean, it's free, so you might as well, but not that useful. The Wolfen weapons, though, the Claws, 6 attacks, 3 up to hit, strength 5, neg 1, 1 damage, or the Hammer, 4 attacks, 3 up to hit, strength 6, neg 1, 2 damage. So you lose 2 attacks, but gain 1 damage here and 1 strength. But the hammers come with the shield, so I think the hammer's shield option is the better option. You do get a 6-up Feel No Pain, which helps a little bit with their survivability. And then you have Death Frenzy. Each time a violence unit is destroyed by a melee attack, it does not fault this phase, roll 1d6. On a 4-up, it gets to basically fight back. That's fine. I remember when they just did this automatically and could do it even if they'd already fought. So just this feels so weak to me because I remember how strong they were. But with their speed, amount of attacks, invul saves, you can find uses for them as like a screen and just a hammer, just to throw at stuff. But I like my units to have a little more versatility than that. So I probably won't really be running Wolfen, but they're not something I would say never take. There are builds where you can find a use for them. It's a Dreadnought. We'll do that in the Dreadnought video. Murder Fang, Dreadnought video. Thunderwolves. I still think, even with the point increase, this is one of the best data sheets we have right now. 10-inch move, great. And Stormlance with the advance and charge, it's amazing. If you're running Champions of Russ, you can take the sustained hits 1 saga, was it Warriorborn, I believe, and then open the strat that gives advance and charge, so you still get that with at least 1 unit. And in Champions of Russ, I think you might only run 1 unit, maybe 2 small units or 1 big unit. But I don't think you run a lot of Thunderwolves in Champions of Russ. If you run a lot of Thunderwolves, I think you just take Stormlance so they can all advance and charge all the time. But I love this unit. They have good stats, good toughness, good wounds, access to the invul save. I think you pretty much always take the Storm Shield. They get 7 attacks per guy because of the dogs. So that helps balance out the heirloom weapons. And then on the charge, you get the +1 damage, which confers any characters attached to them. So that really makes them hit hard. And if you're advancing with charging with them, you're normally going to get the charge off first most of the time. So their weapons profiles. Now, if you end up in an ongoing or you get charged, you really feel the difference of the 1 damage versus the 2 damage. And then if you charge, you have access to the lance. So now you're +1 to wound. So fine, you really want to make sure you're charging with these guys because their efficiency just really spikes. If you're getting charged, they're still tough and they can screen and hold stuff up. Their damage profile just really, really tanks if you're getting charged. Fenrisian Wolves, they're only 30 points, so I think about throwing them in the list a lot of times just because I have weird points left. But OC0, they're really only good at like screening unless you're running Champions of Rust and you're planning on trying to get, Majesty off so that they can become OC1 and then they become a lot more useful. In that case, maybe you hide them in late game. Your opponents just think of them as OC0 and then late game, boom, they're OC1 and now they're doing stuff your opponent wasn't expecting. So 30 points, I can definitely see them making it into a lot of lists sometimes just because you got 30 points and nothing else to do with it. Not an auto include and not a don't bring. For 30 points, they're perfectly fine. Skyclaws. Once again, just kind of like our Grey Hunters and Blood Cloaks, we got good options to special weapons in our jump pack units. And then they can reroll a charge roll each time this unit makes a charge till the end of the phase. They get +1. So they can reroll the charges and get +1 to hit on the turn they charge. That's really nice. They got some weapon options for the Sergeant. You can take up to 2 special weapons. You can take up to 15. So this is a really interesting unit. I don't think I take it because there are better options right now. But if you wanted to tech into the double plasma gun, double melta gun, something like that, there is deep strike them in, but there is other options I find that are slightly better than Skyclaws, but they can do some things if you bring them. They're still fast, they can still score objectives. A couple cheeky shots from some melta guns or plasma guns can still kill some stuff. So Skyclaws are fine, they're not amazing. Long Fangs, this is one of our dedicated Space Wolf anti-vehicle, although with the changes to meltas and stuff, I find it tends to be better at being anti-elite infantry more than anti-vehicle specifically, because your highest strength is 12 on the las cannons. So if you go las cannons, they're fighting against vehicles, but the missile launchers, the plasmas, the meltas, I find those are better anti-elite infantry than vehicles at this point. You can take the chair so that you get to change one roll into a 6 once per battle. And then if you remain stationary, you can select one of them as visible, and you can reroll ones to hit against them. So that's still nice. We still got that extra little thing there. And you can still take up to 6, which gives you the option to take 5 weapons instead of 4, like regular Marines. So that's really cool. Long Fangs, I can definitely see putting them in a pod, putting them in some sort of transport, just jump outflanking them. Come on. They are easy to kill compared to like tank chassis and stuff with shooting, but I do still think Long Fangs have some decent uses. Skip the flyers for now. Pack leader being characters. All right, so that might be it for units in Wolf Scouts. All right, Wolf Scouts, they're 10 points more expensive than regular Scouts, and all you really get is some extra like combat options, which with Scouts, if you're using the up down, just using them as a tech piece, a scoring piece, I don't know that's worth spending the 10 points to give the Sergeant a Thunderhammer. I'd just save the 10 points and take the regular Scouts, because they don't have the option for the sniper rifle, so you can take the missile launcher and sniper rifle in regular Scouts. So I find regular Scouts to be better right now. And all right, so that's it for the stuff in the Space Wolf Index, and then we'll get into some of the stuff in the Marine book. All right, well, I'm going to end it there with just the Wolf units from the Index. I'm working on finding out a way to be able to show the data sheets from the Marine book. That'll be a little better than just me reading through them and talking, you guys staring at me. So I'll come back with a video on those once I figure that out, hopefully in the next day or so. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.